Alright, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Keenan Ivory Wayans finally reveals, in living colors, darkest secrets. This is coming from the channel Retro Reels TV. Let's check it out.
Let's just say it's after dinner, you've got a fork in your hand. Where? Oh. Make more burning.
A woman is as sweet as honey, as long as she don't want no money.
Yes. What they just said? Yes. Sweet as honey. As long as you don't want no money.
A woman is as sweet as honey, as long as she don't want no money.
Back in the day, TV felt a bit predictable. But then, In Living Color burst onto the scene, shattering expectations and delivering side-splitting laughter that hit you like a bolt from the blue.
Damn!
This show was bold, brash, and brilliantly raw.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I know you ain't accusing me of stealing nobody's wallet because money. No, I got money.
Wait, hold on.
Bro, is that Jamie Foxx?
Dreamed up by the iconic Keenan Ivory Wayans and featuring his uproarious siblings Damon and Marlon, alongside with a stellar cast including Jim Carrey, Kim Coles, and David Alan Grier. In Living Color wasn't just entertainment, it was a cultural revolution.
I have to do all the cooking and the cleaning and the washing around here, not to mention the welding.
But as with all revolutions, there was an end. What really led to the show's sudden cancellation.
Compete to get your material on. So the writers are competing with each other, the performers are competing with each other. I mean, maybe Jim Carrey didn't have to compete because he was one of a kind, and certainly the Wayans didn't have to compete because it was their show. But there was a strong competition. I had a talk with Tommy Davidson just the other day. We were on a flight together, and I didn't know he was feeling it too. Like, it was a strong competitive experience. I went to Living Single, and it was a cooperative, and so it was very different.
And better.
And guys, I definitely caught on to Living Single like much later in its not Living Single. In Living Color, very late into their existence. And when I say very late, I mean like 2023, maybe was probably the first time you guys sent me a couple of clips from the show. I was like, bro, what is this? Never seen this in my life. Keep this in mind, guys. I didn't grow up here, right? So I didn't see any of these things. None of these things show on TV in Spain, guys. They don't, right? But the show was absolutely hilarious.
Better for me.
Keenan breaks it down, revealing the behind-the-scenes drama. Was it network politics, creative clashes, or did Fire Marshal Bill ignite a firestorm too big to extinguish? Get ready for a wild ride through the high-stakes world of television. Hires, fires, rumored secret romances, and all the gritty details. Buckle up, y'all. This tea is scalding.
But prior to that, we used to make his life miserable.
Brainchild of comedy OG, prankster legend, the mastermind behind some of the funniest movies of all time, Keenan Ivory Wayans.
I drop my uniform wherever I want. I work 15 jobs. I don't have time for your foolishness. When I come home, I'm tired, damn it.
From his outrageous sketch comedy days to his Hollywood directing gigs, Keenan Wayans has been stirring the pot and doling out laughs for decades.
What's up, man? This is the VIPs.
Yeah, that means very, very important people.
It wasn't Keenan's first rodeo. He'd done 2 successful blaxploitation productions that went on to be quite successful. However, In Living Color was the first one to hit the ball straight out of the park in the early 90s. The requirements for being on the cast were so high that people like Chris Rock and Martin Lawrence are reported to have auditioned, but they didn't make the cut. The audition process was quite the process.
The casting process was really fun. A lot of the people I knew from doing stand-up in the clubs, but even though I knew them, I put them all through the process. And the process was they came in, they read script, performed that. Then we did improv.
I think it was going to be improv
if they made it to the finals, they had to do their act on stage.
And because one person's cilantro nightmare is another's salsa fiesta, while some other people didn't make the cut to be on the cast of the show, others did and turned it down. By others, we're referring to Mark Curry.
And I was also offered in Living Color. People don't know that. Put some respect on my name.
Why did you turn down In Living Color?
Well, it was either Mr. Cooper or In Living Color.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah, bro, take your own show.
You can't be mad at that. When Fox Network approached Keenan and basically told him to express himself freely and allow his creative comedy juices to flow, they must not have imagined how far off the edge that Keenan's mind liked to live, because they panicked like a cat in a bath.
So Barry let us shoot it, but then it came time to air it. And that's when everybody got nervous, like everybody. And Peter Chernin was head of network, sat me down, and he said, we're really nervous about airing this. He goes, undoubtedly it is great and funny. He goes, but we just don't think we can air this.
It took about a year to go from shooting the pilot to actually airing it. The network even had a research team work round the clock to ensure they weren't going to be stepping on any sensitive toes.
Not only was that a conversation, but they hired a research group, and it was the funniest thing. I met with the research people, and I swear it was the CIA. It was a kind of like stiffness and suit and tie that you just go, this is not your average white executive right here. This
basically what he's saying is, guys, they had to make sure that it could even be shown on TV. Right? They're most likely a group of super uptight individuals watching this, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to sell to this audience, right? That's not going to sell to this audience. That's what he's talking about.
This guy is on another level. Told me about the research they had done, and they didn't ask people if they thought things were funny. They asked them, how did it make them feel? It's like, wow.
Come on.
And then they asked me some questions, and they asked me, so what do you think the show is? What do you think? Like, they wanted to know my feelings about the show, and I said, I think the show is fresh and it's new. I think it's revolutionary. And they said, what do you mean revolutionary?
How do you spell nervous? Because this was it.
It was a lot of steps to get to actually getting on the air.
But after all the pre-screening hurdles that needed to be crossed were crossed, the show took off, and boy, was it a hit. Well, Tommy Davidson, who had to leave the show and come back, attests that something was different when the show lost a handful of its initial cast.
There's a little more freedom for me to do what I wanted to do, but also there was a lack of quality to the show. And those friendships I missed too. But like I said, this is a job. It ain't like my family.
But why did Tommy have to leave the show and come back? Well, it might have something to do with a substance abuse that it seemed everyone saw coming but him.
And people would sit me down and say, hey, don't you do that, don't you do that, don't you do that. And it wasn't a conscious decision. It was just one of them things where there was a lot of opportunities available to me, and I was in an emotional space where I was dependent on those things to help me deal with the present reality.
It appears that even Keenan tried to pull Tommy out of that funk, with zero success.
Everybody put me to the side. That was the good thing. Everybody put me to the side and said, hey, man, you better watch out. You better be careful. You better be careful.
Regardless, Keenan describes Tommy as a talented, energetic, and dynamic comedian.
Yeah, I think he was in the early 90s.
Energizer Bunny. That guy, he has more energy than any human being you'll know. And he's the man of 1,000 voices as well. Tommy's stand-up is so amazing because he can do these musical things, he can sing. He's like an old-school entertainer in a very modern incarnation, and that's what it was about him. It's like that skill set I had to have.
Behind the camera, there were rumors of sparks flying like the 4th of July between several cast members. You would think these rumors would manage to exclude the show's creator, Keenan. How wrong would you be? Keenan was tied to alleged love affairs with Kim Coles, whom he had to fire, and not in the formal way, and Fly Girl J-Lo. I know, it's a lot. Let's take a moment to unpack that baggage. Now, Kim Coles was on the show, but for just one short season. Audiences were left wondering what happened to the actress on the show.
She went to living single, 100%.
It was like Kim did a Houdini and disappeared into thin air. The rumor mill caught fire and claimed that Kim was let go as a result of a love affair with Keenan that went sour. What seemed rather shady was the way Keenan fired Coles.
I got a call from my agent saying, don't go to work Monday morning. Don't go to work Monday. I'm like, humana. And it was tough, of course. And it was embarrassing and it was weird because it was the hottest thing ever. And I couldn't understand what I had done or not done right or wrong. And eventually we had a conversation and I understood the politics of the situation.
You can make what you want of that, but it smells like shady business. Kim is of the opinion that Keenan fired her because of his little sister, Kimberly Wayans, who was also on the show, and that she wasn't allowed to shine because Kim Wayans had to shine as well. Keenan addresses what really went down.
Go ahead.
Very funny, but didn't follow that rule of letting go the vanity, an awareness from her. And that's why I think it didn't work.
In Living Color was a spring.
I mean, you kind of, you kind of make it sound pretty, but it sounds like you were probably involved with her and it went south, right? I mean, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with the rumor at the very least, right? It feels more realistic.
Springboard for a lot of the Hollywood careers we now know. And Hollywood. Jennifer Lopez was on the show as a member of the show's very own dance entourage called the Fly Girls. But there must be something in the showbiz water because the rumor mill stayed spinning. And tales of a love affair between Keenan and one of the Fly Girls, Jennifer Lopez, also began to make the rounds. Specifically, the love affair was how homegirl J-Lo made it on the show and stayed on it as a Fly Girl. Here's the thing. There's no concrete evidence to...
Is that a young J-Lo? For real?
...confirm a real-life romance between J-Lo and Keenan. Both of them have remained tight-lipped about the rumors over the years. It really did not help that fellow cast member Jamie Foxx allegedly fueled this rumor that has our ears tingling. Okay, maybe not fueled, maybe just fanned it a tiny bit. Speaking of Jamie Foxx, there were reports that he was mean to other cast members on the set of the show. We're especially eyeballing the words used by Tommy Davidson in his 2020 memoir, interestingly titled Living in Color.
Me and Jamie, no matter what happens between the two of us, or he end up not liking me for what I said, or I end up not liking him for something he did that far back, I ain't holding on to that. I'm just making an account of it.
Davidson wrote in the memoir that although he considered Foxx talented, he was competitive, and his sense of humor was mercilessly mean. Allegedly, when Foxx realized he could score points with Keenan Wayans by making fun of Davidson, it became even more severe.
I never heard from Jamie Foxx anyway. I wouldn't call it shade. I threw some light on the situation.
But
that was the movie Booty Call.
But maybe there was a method to that madness, as Keenan hints us.
It'll be 10 times funnier because Tommy is just the perfect victim for Wanda. And we used to have so much fun because Jamie is like an imp. Jamie's a guy who loves to tease, he loves to push, and he would do things to Tommy to make Tommy crazy. And Tommy would always be looking to me to cut, and I would never cut. I would force him to stay in the scene, and it would just
make him uncomfortable.
It would be so much fun.
The Wayans brothers were on fire, the sketches were outrageous, and the ratings were sky high. So what went wrong? 2 words: censorship and reruns. Okay, that was 3 words.
The censor made us cut out at a certain point, right? Which, we fought, but I was fine with it at the end of the day.
The network wasn't always feeling the show's edgy humor. Keenan tells The Hollywood Reporter, I didn't have antagonistic relationships with the censors. I wasn't irrational. I knew there were restrictions. It was more about how far can I go? Like, just tell me where the line is. The frustration was that the line was moved week to week. So you could do something one week, but if they got mail, you couldn't do it the next. We were constantly in that dance.
Yep.
Plus, the network started rerunning old episodes without consulting Keenan, and while new episodes were running, which devalued the show's freshness. Fox executives told Keenan on a Friday night that they were going to announce the reruns the next Monday morning, leaving him 0 time to work in a protest. Keenan says they were so sneaky about it. To tell you the truth, I was so stunned. I kept saying, you're joking, you're joking. I was supposed to have that control, and even that was usurped. The years I put into the show were being robbed from me. That singular move by the network made the value of the old shows take an immediate nosedive. Those older seasons were to revert to Wayans ownership the next year for sale and syndication. Keenan says to The Hollywood Reporter, Fox started to rerun the show before it got into syndication. They were using the show to launch other shows, and they were devaluing it. Right. I felt like they were exploiting me, so I left in the middle of season 4. And when the creator of the show leaves,
sounds familiar,
haven't you kind of lost the essence of it? Seeing as the visionary creator of the show had exited stage left, audiences agree that the show was simply not the same in its final season before it got canceled.
Yeah, guys, I definitely, again, this is all new information to me. Again, I started even watching this show, let's say sketches specifically, last year is when you guys started sending me these clips, and I was just like, bro, this show's hilarious, right? It's like SNL, just slightly different. I would definitely probably say that it was a little bit more raunchy in comparison to like what SNL was doing specifically at that time, even though SNL obviously was funny, super funny. At the same time this was on, guys. Now him saying that he left the show sounds very familiar to me. It sounds like what Dave Chappelle basically said at the same time, right? Like, listen, if you're not going to value my work, I'm going to have to go. And him also mentioning that the censors would change week to week to week. Bro, nothing has changed. That's exactly what happens on this platform or on YouTube. Every single, bro, I'd give it, listen, I'm going to go ahead and give it every other day. We get brand new things that are not allowed to be said or spoken about until they decide, oh, this is a little crazy. We may be infringing a little bit. And then they remove it and then and don't tell anyone, right? This is kind of what happens consistently still. So like if you're still making content specifically in the realm of any type of media, this is what's happening still right now, guys. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day, and let me know in the comments what I should be checking out next. All right, catch you guys later. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.